cut me too deep. I think I'm dying here, man.
Welcome to the 3B Video Deep Cut Podcast.
Watch a few movies, take a few notes. It was fun.
Aw, yeah, it's that time again for another bi-weekly podcast with your hosts, Rotten Roger DeMarco and
Evil Dead Inks and Crossover Children. All are welcome. All welcome. Go into the light.
Carol Ann. This is your father speaking.
You're gonna get a spanking.
Can we just, yeah, he's like, I've never spanked the kids. Like, man, this is the 80s. You beat your fucking kids. Don't front. You motherfuckers beat your kids.
These are hipster parents that are trying to turn yuppie.
Reaganomics, baby. Reaganomics.
And good Lord, does this film have something that just sends the wife through the roof every time we watch it?
She gets angry?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Very, very angry.
I was going to say that I really like the parents in this movie, but for those of you listening who have no idea what we're fucking rambling about, even though you clicked the title of the podcast, but that doesn't matter.
I mean, it's true, but I literally am having that moment of like, I know what the fuck podcast I'm listening to. I know what the episode is because I clicked on it to download it or to play it. I've never clicked on it. I'm like, wait, what?
Maybe if it was on random. Yeah, it could be on random.
Here we are doing the exact same thing going, oh shit, well, what are we talking about? Maybe they don't know from all that intro stuff. Today, we're franchise territory podcast time, so what's the next one we wanted to do? Why not Poltergeist?
Yeah, a little bit. It's a well-known franchise, but to me, it's still kind of off the beaten track, like when you're talking about like the big guys. So, you know.
But it's 4 movies.
Yeah, 4 movies. And
more than the last series we had. Only 3. 2 movies and a reboot, so now we got 3 movies and a reboot. We're upping it by 1 extra movie before we get to the reboot.
Bum, 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 which is 2 months worth of podcasts. And
boom.
You know, this movie is a different type of movie than what we've covered thus far. We've really kind of leaned heavy into the slasher genre, especially for the past year and a half. We've been hanging out with the big guys, you know, and now we are hitters. Which is weird because this is technically a Tobe Hooper movie of Texas Chainsaw fame, but not really. I mean, it's Tobe Hooper's involved, but this is a Spielberg, you know, so...
There's the one of 2 debates that are always had about this movie is if it's who directed it, Hooper or Spielberg, which I can't remember where I heard it, but somebody was, it may have been Zelda Rubinstein was saying that, yes, Spielberg was there, but he was there very sporadically.
Yeah.
Like it was Tobe that was doing the legwork.
Yeah.
That and did you know that they used real skeletons in the pool?
Oh my god, I didn't know. I should click this fucking BuzzFeed article, go through 67 fucking pop-ups.
Let's just retitle this episode, The Things You Didn't Know About Poltergeist.
God damn it.
You can't tell I winked right there. Is the sound of a wink.
Winky winks. I'm not gonna dispute it. I'm not gonna front. This movie has a very distinct Spielbergian look. But, you know, if he's working closely with Tobe Hooper, and perhaps the use of a cinematographer and or crew that Spielberg has sort of built a working relationship with, I would assume that the end product would come out kind of having that Spielberg look, you know.
Maybe I'm in the weird camp of I don't feel Spielberg or Hooper really off this movie. If you're would you believe either one? If there was a trivia list of them 2 names and then maybe 2 names I didn't even know,
right?
I probably wouldn't even think of Spielberg or Hooper really, because either one feels super influence.
Yeah,
if anything,
prevalent.
it feels, it's a mixed drink.
Yeah, I was
I
going to
don't
say
feel
that.
it comes off either one.
Yeah, it's definitely a collaborative effort. Like, to me, though, I will say that I do feel a little bit more the Spielberg. You know what I mean? Like, if this is Jack and Coke, we got a little bit more Jack than we got Coke.
The Spielberg neighborhood-esque, but I was like,
oh yeah,
that's the best I could give you.
Yeah, just
like
suburban.
The best suburban like thing in this movie is the dude who I clearly like. I've gotten stories on some of my former high school classmates because I don't go to any reunions. I don't keep up with anybody, so I know one person that's able to inform me on some of the downfalls of those popular kids in school. So I got to hear about one that was one of those top tier popular kids who totally became just an alcoholic,
the neighbor
degenerate, and just has to ride a bike to work every day because he had too many DUIs. So
Oof.
That's all I could see when we have this shot of this nice suburban neighborhood, and then a dude on a bicycle riding it while carrying a case of open top beer. Like, not a case that's in an entirely closed box. Like, the entire open of the top of this box is just free flowing beer. They're all cans, but it's a crate with an open top, and he's just carrying this shit while he's riding a bike. And I'm like, I wonder if that's what that dude from high school is doing.
It's like transporting potatoes in the back of an open truck.
Kind of.
Goes back
like,
a couple weeks.
Like, I'm drunk, we need more beer. Like, send this dude out to go get it, but just give him a bicycle. I'm like, here, just get enough to get a case.
They're all open, so they're getting flat.
And then he spills it all. That's what the way it gets me is he's carrying 24 cans of beer. He gets hoodwinked. I don't know how would you describe these little RC cars that the kids are riding? They're out there just to fuck with him. Cause him to crash. Loses like half the beer, and he runs into the house, which is Craig T. Nelson's house. Apparently they're having a football party, and they sent this dude to go get more beer. He's only carrying in like maybe 6 beers, 1 or 2 of which are spewing at the time he comes into the house. And then this past week watching this movie, I looked at the wife at that moment. I was like, oh, that's why I don't hang out with nobody around here. Like, because I would kick this fucking guy out the house. Like, you coming into my house with beer spewing out of sections of these cans all over my house?
That's why we don't have friends.
Like, get the fuck out of here.
So, do you want to give the good folks out there in internet land a brief plot synopsis of this film, and then we can start moving headstones and not bodies?
Well, we have like I said, we have a former hippie family that is turned to the yuppie world, living in the suburbs, and they encounter a haunted house. Now,
so spooky.
If you're thinking, wait a minute, I've seen this movie. Isn't this Insidious, or isn't this any other fucking haunted movie that's come out in the last 30 years? Yes, but much like how the debate is, like, where was the first slasher movie? Is it Black Christmas? Is it Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Did they set the standard?
Peeping Tom.
Again, we have Tobe Hooper here kind of laying I would say even though it's 1982, the modern groundwork for the haunted house picture. It's not until we get to the next couple of movies that we get more of a slasher icon face to this series. Right here, it is faceless. It is just an entity that is tormenting Craig T. Nelson and his family.
Tormenting Coach, goddammit. Yeah, you leave Coach alone.
Are you Peter Griffin? Make it quick.
Oh my goodness. And we were talking off air. You and I both, I think, have like respective films in this franchise that we maybe watch more than one or the other. And I am slightly ashamed to admit that as like much as this film is like responsible, like you said, for the modern era or the 80s era of haunted house films, or this is just a very like seminal, influential film in the horror like zeitgeist. I still don't watch it as often as I should. Like, I know it, I love it, I respect it, I like it, but I don't get to it as often as I should. And rewatching it, preparing for this podcast, kind of made me go, man, I should watch this more. I'm not sure why I don't, but we'll get to the one that I do watch down the road. But yeah, I don't know.
Because it's not well, it's faceless, so you don't have a set villain. Not that that's a problem. I just think if I'm just trying to figure out why it's in neither of our like regular rotations, but we don't dislike it when we watch it.
Right.
Is we don't have a clear villain. It is kind of very atmospheric, so unless you're really kind of like in that mode, like just like the Insidious movies, like I like the Insidious movies. They're all, I've not disliked the one of them, but I'm out 2, 3, and 4. Maybe I've watched 2 or 3 times.
Right.
The first one may have the record with 3 to 5 watches. So they don't get put on a great deal at all. Haunted house movies just don't get put on very often. But I have no issues with any of them when we do. But
right.
That's the best I could try to come up with any kind of bullshit excuse as to why we don't watch it more.
So, and I also feel like, you know how like certain movies have like a certain, like best viewed on, like a best viewed date, like with 7, like you and I like to watch it when it's cold and rainy. When it comes to Poltergeist, to me, feels very like warm and sunny and summertimey, like spring, summer. So I don't know what it is. You know, the suburbs, the green grass, it's just nice, like a thunderstorm. So I just feel like a nice 75, 80 degree day, like lights on type of movie. It's not, to me, it doesn't scare me. But I feel like my thing with this movie is, even though it's a haunted house movie, it's still kind of like teetering on like nice. Like it's nice. It's not like gritty, grimy, like, you know, like a traditional haunted house horror movie, which they did on purpose. They made it kind of like the juxtaposition of like it's not like hard, like out of tune piano keys. It's not a bunch of jump scares. It's dripping with atmosphere, but for some reason it just feels so soft. Wholesome
for a horror haunted house film. It's the most wholesome horror haunted house movie there is, but it's not really that wholesome.
I know, which is weird. It's a conundrum.
It is. 100% it is, because you have a dude ripping his own face off, and we have a steak and that's
maggots,
moving across a table, which I think the wife said the other day. We're just going through epiphanies rewatching this. She's like, you know, this movie's probably the reason why I definitely don't like anything less than well-done cooked meat. She just is thinking of this movie. And yeah, that face-ripping scene, been parodied and done a million times. I think our favorite is, of course, when it was done in Holliston.
Absolutely.
Doesn't look great compared to what you could do today, but
it's got a very Ghostbusters 84 look.
But the sound design, if you just look away and listen to it, it sounds disgusting.
Yeah, it sounds like it hurts.
It sounds like he's ripping his face off.
Yeah. There are really good things in this movie. You know, I know everybody, when you talk about this movie, the things that pop up are the clown and the tree. But I think, you know, I've never been afraid of a tree. That one always, even as a kid, when I saw this, I was like, he's scared of the tree? Yeah. He sleeps with a baseball cap on, too. Yeah, he sleeps in full third baseman gear. Yeah. In case a game breaks out, you know. And he has that, like, of course, I know he's gotten shit all his life about this silhouette shot where he's got his big-ass front tooth sticking out. Which, rewatching it this time, I go back to The Simpsons. I was like, I feel like that's the dude from the dental plan episode that just opens his beer cans with it. Like, that's Chopper. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, as far as, but, like, yeah, the tree and the clown, like, those are the things. The clown is definitely something that still unnerves the wife to this day. Yeah, I mean, it definitely strikes a chord with people. Those things, whenever you watch, like, 100 Scariest Moments or any horror documentary you ever watch, if they're going to bring up Poltergeist, bop, bop, they're going to show both of those things. And there are other things in this movie, more subtle, that bother me. And whether that be the Spielberg shot, the Jaws shot, like showing the hallway to the room, and they make the hallway seem really long, you know, towards the end.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That's
we both were like, that's great, and we were like, we even had, that's even dreams that you have, like you're running to something, you just can't, it doesn't feel like you're moving at all. That's a great shot. I love that one.
Makes your stomach queasy, like that type of thing. Subconsciously, I don't know what it is, like that to me is so fucking scary compared to, you know, a tree grabbing you, yanking you out the window or whatever, like things like that. The underglow of the door. Yeah, like the underglow to the bedroom door, which again feels very Ghostbusters 84.
That's super Ghostbusters, but yeah, beat it by 2 years. So so Ghostbusters, you'd be like, oh, that feels very Poltergeist.
Exactly. But it's things like that, opening up the bedroom door and, you know, all the stuff floating around, or all the stuff getting sucked into the closet. Things like that really bother me compared to the other things. And I think the best part of this movie for me is, since the wife is, she's still very much clinging to like hippie, you know, she's reading like astrology books and she's really into all of these different things.
Jo Beth Williams.
Yes. Gorgeous.
There's some things that, looking at it at 39-year-old eyes that before were not really a thing, and that was one of the first things I was like, man, Jo Beth Williams looking good.
Yeah, she is attractive.
Even with two Heather Langenkamp gray streaks in there, I'm like, man, you could leave that shit in there and still look good.
Feel like I haven't slept for days, but
you look 20 years old to me.
Nightmare on Elm Street reference, deep cut. But like the fact that she's so like open and accepting of it, like when it first starts, you know, moving the chair across the floor, and she's like excited, you know what I mean? That scares me, because she's just willing to let it be, like. And then we are the audience. We are Craig T. Nelson going, no one's going in the kitchen until I know what the fuck why. No.
See, totally rewatching it, that's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, this is what would happen if it was at Rod and Roger's house. Like, I totally see, like, he comes home, his wife is the one being like, look at this shit, and like, your son's just like, fine, and got a helmet on, just sliding across, just bored as shit with it by this point. You're like, just describing it to you, and you're just like, get the fuck out of the kitchen.
We are moving. Yeah, there's a gas leak. There's something. Goddamn cherry bomb, that's what it is.
There's a gas leak.
There's something going on.
I smell gas. Even if your mother does it, I smell gas.
Yeah, so, I mean, that type of stuff, again, with that 38, 39-year-old man lens, rewatching it, that's when I start to feel scared. That's when I start to feel nervous. Is like, anytime that there is evidence of a paranormal incident that's happening, and the mother is so dismissive and, if not like overly excited, like how cool it is, and you just know, like, because you're sitting here watching it, you know, you're the third party to the situation, like, this is not going to end good.
We can see further down the road.
Yeah, you should be scared right now.
I did want to go back to like the opening of this movie, because there's where our first real ghost of this movie is: static TV. Oh yeah, which that doesn't really exist anymore. I think you just get a blue screen when you lose a signal now. Yeah, I think that could be that's a novelty now. That's what someone would use as a screensaver or a cover for their phone. Static, you know, as we used to call it, the Salt and Pepper Wars channel, doesn't exist anymore. That is the first ghost of this film is seeing that, because we don't have that anymore. No. And I thought that opening was cool, that we get the dog that just goes from room to room establishing every character of the movie. And then I thought it was kind of strange that we have Carol Ann, she's gonna be 5 years old?
She's 4 or 5, yeah.
Like, just rolls down the steps and starts talking to the TV. And everybody wakes up and starts coming downstairs. I guess Craig T. Nelson, he's still on the couch, just crashed out inches from it. And they're just staring at her. And I was like, this is kind of like, it's a cool shot. But I've also just recently been rewatching Freddy's Nightmares again to punish myself. I was like, this feels a little Freddy's Nightmares-esque. Because, like, this is a cool shot, and I don't know what it means. And then we just cut away to the next day as if, all right.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was it's a weird way to open the movie. Not a bad way, but I was like, huh.
There are some weird, abrupt cuts in this movie, but talking about that opener with the static TV, that also is another, like, static only came when a channel went off air, or there was no channel, which is a weird thing to try to explain to a younger audience. Like, channels...
People used to operate channels, and at some point, they wanted to go home.
They would stop at midnight, and they would play the national anthem.
Yeah.
And like, the TV would go off. And so, like, if you were up late, you would have to channel surf to find one of those weird channels that was on. I mean, if it was a movie channel, obviously it was going to be on. But if it was like you had basic cable, the pickings were slim after midnight, for sure.
Mm-hmm. You better hope you had HBO or Cinemax, because outside of that, you just going to watch snow the rest of the night.
Yep.
I miss snow, I'll be honest. I watched it, I'm like, man, I kind of miss when shit would just end. But at the same point, like, the wife wouldn't be able to survive today if as channels actually ended and she wasn't able to watch some sort of streaming something on. Like, it's
all
unfathomable in 1982 to think you could watch Unsolved Mysteries around the clock every day, 7 days a week, all hours of the day.
Yeah.
Can't even imagine that then. Like, the parallels between 1982 and 2023. Insane. But one thing, and this is the thing that sends the wife through the roof, and it's great because nobody apparently in her inner circle sees it, because she actually recorded it when we watched it this past time on her phone, sent it to her friends, like, to get their reaction, and everyone was like, I never noticed this before. But if you are a weed smoker, you won't not see it now. But when we get to the scene of Joette Williams and Craig T. Nelson hanging out on the bed, where Craig T. Nelson has his bare ass feet just laying on his own pillow, which I'm like, gross, but oh shit, I do that too sometimes. Hanging out, he's half-ass reading a Ronald Reagan book.
Mm-hmm.
But they're also smoking, and while he's smoking, he's just got weed. Not on a tray.
I know, it's all
not
over.
on a plate. It's just all over the bed. Just on the bedspread. Like, they clearly got money. And I was like, they just have money to fucking burn around here. They're just like, just rolling joints willy-nilly on the bed, and then walking over it when he gets out the bed. He just stands on it and walks over it barefoot, doesn't give a shit. And they got steaks uncovered in the fridge.
Before,
just raw,
after,
just raw steaks on a plate. Just throw that shit in there. We don't care. Like, we can spend this kind of money on frivolous things all day.
They're gonna cook that steak later. It was for later today.
Yeah.
Had to
should we
thaw it
cover
out.
it? Should we do anything with it? Like, no, just open that shit raw and throw it on a plate. It's fine. But oh my gosh, their weed etiquette just send if you're a smoker, it will send you through the roof rewatching it, being like, especially in this time of things going on, because like that is shit's expensive around here. So that's a couple $100 probably he's got there, just brushes it out of the bed like, I throw this shit on the ground.
I'm gonna vacuum
No
it.
big deal at all. Yeah. Yeah.
Don't even care.
Savages. These people are savages. They get what's coming to them.
Oh, Jesus Christ. There was one other thing that I had never noticed, and this, again, it's going to point out how little I watch this movie, to be honest with you. We're introduced to this neighborhood with this really cool aerial shot, which is partially practical, then the other half is matte painting of the rest of the town, I believe. But these are all new housing developments, and they're being built. New sections are being built, and Craig T. Nelson is a real estate agent. And I've never noticed this, and I don't know why. Like, we go from a shot inside of Craig T. Nelson's family home in their kitchen, and we cut immediately to a house that Craig T. Nelson is selling or trying to sell, and the layout is identical. Like, it's
suburbs.
It's literally identical. It's from kitchen to kitchen, and pop. And like this week when watching it, I'm like, oh, like I get it. Like, I don't know why it had never clicked. Like, because then the guy that they're showing the house to is like, I can't tell these houses apart, to be honest with you. And, Craig T. Nelson does his sales pitch. Yeah, you're probably right. But we do have a guy who did this once, like blah, blah, blah. Like, you can make it your own, even though it looks just like every other fucking house on this street. So, like, I
don't know if Craig T. Nelson's a good, like, I just can't picture him as a salesman. Like, maybe used cars. Like, maybe Bill Paxton's character from True Lies. I could see him doing that, like, super shady, like, garbage, like, glue and tape held together vehicles, but I can't picture him, like, selling me a house.
The 80s, man. They were a different time. He'd probably, show you around the house and then cut you a big fat rail of cocaine that you can...
He's just gonna brush on the floor when he's just gonna hold it in his palm, like in his hand, like not through like a coke nail, like an infamous coke nail on your pinky, just in the little palm of his hand, curled up, just, and then he's just gonna. No, that's what he'll do. He'll just blow that shit in your face, like, all right, inhale in 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, you got the.
Did you get some?
Got the Craig T. Nelson special.
Isn't he doing that? Isn't he doing rails of coke in Action Jackson?
It's been a hot minute since I watched Action Jackson. All I really remember from Action Jackson is seeing Vanity nude because I didn't know that was a thing. I was like, what? Which totally caught me off guard.
And Sharon Stone.
Yeah. But we haven't talked about one of the best character actors of all time who kind of weasels his way into this movie and becomes essentially the catalyst for it all.
Playing the same... He's got the same name.
Good old James Karen stepping
playing
in.
Frank again.
He's just forever Frank.
So clearly after this real estate gig fell through, he just had to get a regular Joe job at a medical supply factory at another out-of-state.
In Louisville, yeah.
Had to move to Louisville, Kentucky to get a job there because his reputation shot here in the California suburbs.
Yeah,
not enough of him in it.
No,
like at the time, like if you're unaware of his work in Return of the Living Dead, which that's definitely a franchise I look forward to one part and not the rest.
Right.
When we get to that series, but if you don't know him, you're not going to really miss him too much. But if you've seen his work in Return of the Living Dead, you're like, oh my gosh, why didn't we get more of him?
Yeah.
The little bit we get is fantastic. Like, oh, what kind of wattage bulb you got in this thing out here? Like, just, that's where it's borderline. It's like a sitcom where Craig T. Nelson is trying to hide, like, I don't even know why he's trying to hide the fact that this place is super haunted for a hot minute from him. And other times where, like, they got that room upstairs that's just going
it's
insane.
Just alive, yeah. The room is just like alive. My favorite sequence in this whole fucking movie is when they decide to go ask the neighbor if he's having any disturbances. But I feel like there is something on the cutting room floor, and that's what I was talking about with the.
Is it the
edit.
poison ivy or whatever he gets into? Like,
there's an edit.
Because I was watching it, and they go over there, and then I see like Jo Beth Williams like slap her side of her face like a bug.
Yeah,
on
they
her
got
or
mosquitoes.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but and then the next scene they're putting ointment on Craig T. Nelson, like he got into some poison oak or some shit. I'm like, did I miss something here?
Well, the prior scene, they're standing in their own kitchen and they're having a conversation, and it cuts abruptly to them at the neighbor's house. There's some stuff missing there, and I can't remember what it was that they had to cut out. They had to trim it because something happens in that scene that they had previously referenced, but they had also removed. So it resulted in a really weird jarring cut. And even though I don't watch this movie often, when I was rewatching it, I was like, Jesus Christ, that cut, it's almost like in the middle, they're in the middle of a conversation and we get 1 or 2 frames of the next shot. Like Craig T. Nelson is going to say something, but then we cut to them outside. It's a rough fucking cut. And it's so what? In a Spielberg movie? That happened? It's very jarring.
It's some Freddy's Nightmare shit where I'm like, I feel like, did I either fall asleep, zone out, or do I have a fever right now? Did I miss something?
But that's what I'm saying is I don't know what else happens in that scene in the kitchen, But when they're at their neighbor's house, to me, they seem extremely high. Because they're like,
because that's the vibe I felt like they were putting off to the neighbor, and what the neighbor was picking up from them. Like, I think they're on
PCP. Jinx. We both said it.
Yeah, that's the drug of choice we go to is PCP.
Mm-hmm. But it's weird. They're very high. They got to be.
I mean, if nothing else, Craig T. Nelson looks like that dude has not slept. Like, he should have been in an Elm Street movie because he looks legitimately like he has not slept in days.
Yeah.
Heather Langenkamp still looked like $1 million after a week. Craig T. Nelson's on like day 4, and he looks like he's literally dying.
Yeah.
But of course, I mean, how could you sleep when when the paranormal investigators from the college finally show up and they take him up to this room where shit is going on nonstop? I'm like, how the fuck could you sleep? It's like a circus going on around the clock in there. There's literally like a little horse with an Incredible Hulk riding it. There's shit banging around, is rotating in a circle. Like, imagine sleeping below that. Or just down the hall from that. You couldn't do it. It's a Royal Rumble going on around the clock.
Yeah, I'm leaving. Like, I'm sorry, Carol Ann, but peace out. You know, like, I'm not staying in this house. If it got you, it could possibly get any number of us. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I'd come back when I got Paranormal Investigators. I would not be in there waiting for Paranormal Investigators at all.
Which, I mean, what do they really do?
Set up some cameras.
I mean, yeah, I guess they do the traditional thing we see done a million times since then.
Mm-hmm.
They come in, they're kind of like, okay, yeah, we'll check it out, and they start seeing some shit, and they're like, yeah, y'all got some shit going on here. And it takes for things to get even more heavy-duty extreme before they're like, all right, we're gonna bring Tangina in now.
Yeah, it takes them having like the hallucinations, like the face peeling, the rotten meat. It takes all of that before they're like, maybe we don't know what the fuck we're doing, you know? So
it takes them having shit fall from a portal in the fucking living room for
That's
things
true.
to them to be like, you know, I think something's going on around here.
Mm-hmm. That's when they
Something's
start
a little
to
fishy.
Determine, like, if there's a way out, there's a way in, which they should have immediately deduced that because she got...
I wouldn't have deduced that. I've been like, I would have just been just as confused, being like,
well, if Carol
even
Ann went somewhere, there had to be a way in. Like, I would have been more concerned that maybe there's no way out.
I would not be convinced of anything like enough to like. I mean, until they do the rope trick, which like all this stuff, I'm like, this is definitive proof right here. If they're recording all this, we got definitive proof. There's no more debate at all. Like, this is the most should be the most documented case of, yeah, it's guaranteed there's something beyond us. And even if they didn't record shit, you have an entire neighborhood that
watches your house eat itself.
That watches that, but I mean, the whole neighborhood's going bonkers, man. The fire hydrants are blowing up, things are on fire. Like, it literally looks like hell in this neighborhood.
Yeah, that third act is awesome.
Yeah, it goes full tilt boogie in paranormal shenanigans at the tail end of this flick. Like, it's going crazy.
I think that's my other favorite part of this movie is the bait and switch ending. Like, we get a false ending. We get that false ending.
I would be so freaked out by that, like, watching it, like, because you just know, like, all right, things are done. The house is clear. Whew. Mm-hmm. Why is the movie still going? Yeah,
exactly. Like, and rewatching it this week, I'm like, this may be, like, the most brilliant use of that I've ever seen. Like, of course, we get, like, you know, the Carrie stinger where the hand comes out of the grave, or we get Jason popping out of the water. Like, those are like a flash in the pan, real quick, like just a ooh, boogie boogie gotcha moment. Like,
not 10 plus more minutes.
Yeah, that is not a false ending. That's a haha, you know.
Psych.
Yeah, one last little popcorn pop for the audience. This, we get a full-blown finale, and then we get, like, let's bring in the nice music, the birds are chirping, the sun is up, everyone's having a good time, until the mom has to go back into the house.
Or it's It's until Craig T. Nelson just go like, all right,
I'm gonna go to work real quick.
Yeah, I'll be back in 10 minutes. Nothing crazy gonna happen for 10 minutes, right? All right. Then we get the wonderful Joe Beth Williams in a bath sequence. We don't get to see nothing, but I was like hoping, like maybe I just didn't see it before, and I'll see it this. Like I'm watching Silk Stockings. Like I'm gonna get some nudity this time. I just know it. I know it. But even just her and her underwear and a shirt, like, that's good enough. It's still pretty good.
Yeah, not bad.
And then my frustrating scene of Robbie's going to sleep and that goddamn clown. They packed the entire house pretty much.
Except
but the
that
one
clown.
thing he didn't pack is the goddamn clown at the end of his bed. That is bullshit. That'd be the first fucking thing I throw in a box. Throw in a box, by the way.
Or
I don't
burn
need this
in the
anymore.
backyard. Yeah.
Drop accidentally because it's porcelain, I believe.
Yeah. Or throw it in the pool, like something. Just get that fucking thing out of here.
Because our good buddy and former guest on the podcast, Sean Clark, is the one that is in possession of that, and that's his most prized piece, is that Poltergeist clown he has in a glass case. I remember him saying, like, yeah, it's really fragile and glass, I think. So just bust that shit up, pack it away. The fact that that's the only thing left in this whole place, sitting in a chair at the end of your bed that you didn't pack yet.
False. Yeah.
It's on
you,
Robbie.
Yeah, you're a bad kid who's afraid of that thing. Like, if I was afraid of that thing, it would not be in my fucking room at all, ever.
Yeah. It's like the Exorcist poster that we've talked about that you had.
I used to have on my bathroom door. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the equivalent right there. You're like, maybe I'll just take this down now.
I would just leave my bathroom door open so I wouldn't have to see it.
I don't want to see it. Don't want to deal with it. Yeah, no.
Yep.
So the fact that clown's still sitting there, I'm just like, this fucking kid gets what he deserves at this point.
Yeah, no shit. But I love that last 20, 30 minutes of the movie. Because it is important to note that this is not, like your traditional movie does not end at an hour and a half. Is it 2 hours or is it just a hair under 2 hours? I just know it's around that 2 hour mark. I didn't get the exact runtime, but it also doesn't necessarily feel it. Never.
I mean, you might feel it early on. Maybe early on for the first 20 minutes, maybe. But if you've not seen this before, even if you've seen it once or twice, it does not feel like it drags.
No.
At all.
It doesn't. Sidebar. I went and watched the new John Wick last night, and that is a 3 hour movie that feels every bit of a 3 hour movie. It feels so long. Decent, fun movie, but it feels long. This is a borderline 2 hour movie that goes by pretty quick. And I think that also has to do with, like I said, it has that, it's not cute, but you know what I'm trying to say, like a clean...
The wholesomeness.
The wholesomeness of it makes it go by pretty quickly. Because, like, you never have, like, those big, heavy, like, Insidious type moments. Like, we have some scary stuff, but it all still feels so light. Like, you're not, like, ramping up in adrenaline and, you know, like, getting all gassed up and then settling down and getting gassed up and settling down. It's a pretty mellow 2 hours, so it doesn't hurt.
Like you're high. Like
yeah,
you just
man.
Smoked a fatty that you rolled at the end of your king-size bed.
Then you jumped on your bed and...
jumped on the bed to imitate a diving scene, barefoot, and just took your kid willy-nilly back to put them to bed so you can get back to smoking your J in the bedroom like adults do.
Yeah, like all suburban adults do.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. I'm trying to think anything else in this movie that...
I mean, we could always briefly discuss the elephant, I'm sure, in the room of people waiting if they're new to this entire series or new to us in general, but fans of the series. What do you want to talk about? Everybody wants to know what we think about the supposed curse. Is the movie cursed? I'll just before prefacing with anything else. Like, do you believe there's a curse on this movie and or franchise?
I don't, man. I think bad things happen, and I
don't think it is cursed either. I think it's a shit coincidence.
You got 120 people on a crew making a movie. So, and every single one of those people have their own individual lives and individual people in their lives, families, etc. You're bound to find some tragedy if you look hard enough, you know?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm not saying the other movies.
yeah, like 60 out of 120 people who worked on this movie's moms died of cancer. Coincidence? Yeah. Or whatever, you know what I mean?
And I'm not saying other movies don't have some cursed shit possibly going on. There's definitely some other movies that got some weird, like, well, that's pretty fucking weird. But I mean, with this series, I mean, the first movie alone, there's literally the only tragedy
daughter.
you can tie to it is, the daughter.
The teenage
who
daughter,
is-
not Carol Ann.
Yeah, not yet. We have the teenage daughter who, post the movie, is strangled and on life support and taken off life support and dies from her boyfriend she had. And the go-to is, is it cursed because of it had real skeletons in the pool sequence, freaking out Joe Beth Williams. And no, because, spoiler alert, they use real skeletons in movies all the time. And have since like the 1920s, man. It's not a big deal, really.
No, it's not.
I don't hear about curses in any of these other fucking movies that have used real skeletons because it's cheaper. And it doesn't surprise me that they're fucking cheaper than to have these things made.
You know, also, then by that logic, every single high school in the United States should be fucking haunted. Because we all have, like, my high school had one, and it wasn't fake.
Yeah.
It was like a real dude's dead bones fucking wired together, you know, so you could look at them. Like,
I believe we had one as well, and we had no shit going on there. But I don't think there's any curse to this film or this franchise, really. I mean, we'll get to the other cursed things when we get to the next movie and the third movie. There's no cursed shit around the fourth movie that I know of. Do you know of any?
no.
I'll see if I can find any by the time we get to the
Sam
reboot.
Rockwell hasn't won a million Oscars.
Well, they're like, you were in Ninja Turtles 1990. You get no Oscars, sir. We don't respect that kind of work around here.
Yeah, bullshit. Spoiler alert: Sam Rockwell.
That was his whole audition for that movie. Probably was like, can you say regular or menthol?
Can you hold up some cigarettes? Yeah. Can you wear a greasy white shirt? But
call Craig T. Nelson back and be like, we don't need you for the reboot. We're gonna go somewhere else. Which, man, Craig T. Nelson's like listed as the star of this movie, and at least the first two. He is not like top billed on IMDb. Like, it is Joe Beth Williams front and center.
oh yeah. Well,
Third is Craig T. Nelson. He's behind Heather O'Rourke.
Well, so Joe Beth Williams, right? Was she in? She's in like
I think she was
the Brood.
I don't know of any other movies she's done. I think her career was just doing soap operas before she got this role. She was not a real big name at the time.
But now she is.
I mean,
She's a character actor, dude. Yeah, not
to be shit, but I was like, is she?
Yeah, I
like,
think
what
so.
else? I don't know anything she's done after this.
Probably a million TV series, like one episode here, one episode there.
All things I've just not seen. It's out of my wheelhouse, apparently.
Right. But yeah, I love Sam Rockwell. That's where I was going. It's just I just think Sam Rockwell is the goddamn man, and I think that was the catalyst which made me like the reboot so much. Is he can do no wrong in my eyes, but
I have not seen the reboot. The wife had seen it on Ambien,
so
and
yeah,
she doesn't remember. She doesn't remember a great deal of it, so it'll be a new experience for the both of us when we get to that
fun.
movie.
It's a very fun modern take on Poltergeist, which bombed, I think. I think a lot of people didn't like it, but we'll get to that in a few weeks.
Which remake hasn't done that, really? In this day and age, has any remake been successful? All right, yeah.
Been a hot minute. Yeah, been a hot minute.
I don't think of one.
We haven't really discussed her at all, other than the fact that she did have an untimely death in like making these films. But the actress who plays Carol Ann is amazing. I don't like to throw around amazing too often when it comes to like a child actor. She's pretty fucking rad. They're
few and far between.
Yeah, and there are a few times, especially in the finale of the film, she spikes the lens. You know, she's a 5-year-old kid. She's looking directly at the camera a couple times, but like,
she's got a good dead stare.
And but you can't help but just fall in love with this kid. It's a hard thing to explain. Like,
perfect way I could sum that up. I may jump in and try to assist you there. Is her bird dies. Jo Beth Williams is going to flush it down the toilet. Heather O'Rourke catches her. Mm-hmm. So they go and do the full burial thing, which just had to do this recently myself. So it hit worse than normal. But putting in the whole, like, in case he's hungry in the box, like, so he doesn't forget about us. Oh, Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is heavy duty stuff right now. And then burying it and, like, tears down the eyes, like, burying it. But just how kids are just so resilient. Like, that thing is not buried for more than 3 seconds. You're like, can I get a fish now?
Yep, exactly.
Like the kids can just bounce the fuck back from that shit so much better than we can. We're just in our old ways. Nostalgia has just tainted us so much that it's just gonna, like, I'm still getting over what I've had, the pet we've had to put down recently. And it's been a couple weeks. This kid was not even a full minute, and like, what's next?
Yeah, what's my next pet?
Perfect. And not like, it doesn't come off snotty or shitty, like totally like she's like
innocent.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, and I think that definitely aids in your just adoration, your care for this kid. She's a wonderful kid, and for the most part, when I watch this movie, I feel like the person who gets it the worst is Robbie. Like, Robbie gets,
because he's the middle child. Middle kid are forgotten. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, he has a pretty gnarly fucking room. But yeah, he's the forgotten middle kid. They're literally like leaving him in a room after they save him. They're like, all right, we got to go care about the important kids now, the oldest and the youngest.
Yeah, you stay here.
Yeah, 100%. There's a scene where he's just like, I was just eaten by a tree.
You guys gonna leave me alone? I'm gonna need therapy for years.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like he gets the brunt of it a lot in the movie. Like, he gets a lot of the scares, but that comes with, because we have to take Carol Ann away. So Carol Ann is in the further, if you will. She's gone.
It's exactly what I called it the other day. I was like, it's the further, but we just don't get to see it.
And so she's gone. So we get her voice, but we have to have someone else step up and take the brunt of the scares, which primarily is Robbie. Not a lot happens to the older sister. Not like...
No, because she like I even asked at one point, they send the kids off in a taxi. I'm like, where the fuck are they sending them to? And then I was like, oh yeah, they got money to run. They're probably just like, can you just circle the block in this taxi for a few days until we figure out what to do next?
Send them to Aunt Patty and Aunt Selma's house.
Yeah, we have no establishment of other families, so I don't know where the fuck they're sending these kids, and I don't know where they go or when they come back. But yeah, the oldest is just like, she just at one point just fucks off and goes to be with a boyfriend, and totally makes like it's subtle shit, like they reference the Holiday Inn, and she's like, oh, I know where that is. How the fuck do you know where that is? Mm-hmm. And then when she makes her big return at the end of the movie, she was supposed to go hang out with friends, got a big ass gigantic hickey on the side of her neck. I'm like, jeez. Wife looked literally the shit the wife turned to me. She goes, the oldest daughter, she a hoe.
No wonder you got murdered in your driveway. Jesus.
That got dark quick. I was just like, well, she's just a teenager with hipster parents, man. Like, Mom doesn't even bat an eye. She laughs when she is getting hit on by construction workers. She flips them off, but but Jo Beth Williams inside is like, oh shit, she'll take care of those guys. Not take care of those guys, but take care of those guys.
That's the Poltergeist porn parody.
Fuck those construction guys too, man. What the hell are they doing? They take way too long to make a pool. Mm-hmm. And one dude is just grabbing shit off the fucking counter with the window open.
Yeah.
I'm not paying you for this. Like, you are fired. You are fired. These are what pool guys are doing in this day and age. They're taking 3 years to get a pool made. These guys just fucking off.
Yeah.
We dug a hole, and then enough.
Now we're going to take a break. You got any cold beer? Oh, good God.
But, all that being said, we did enjoy Poltergeist. It is a good film. We don't think it's cursed. But... I mean, you can't listen to what our opinion is. We got to give everything a fair shake. So let's look at the dark side of things. Let's look at where these bodies ended up, possibly. These 1-star reviews. First up, we have TC, October 18th, 2022. 1 star. What the hell? The least scary thing I've ever seen. Right next to any Cartoon Network Halloween special.
Wow. Okay.
Downright goofy. No real scare factor.
Well, like I said, it's a nice movie. It's a nice movie.
K. On October 15th, 2022. Apparently a lot of Halloween viewings of this.
Oh, yeah.
Recently. 1 star. Kept stopping, so quit. How do I get a refund? Movie kept stopping and couldn't watch it.
Yeah, your internet provider. That's the problem.
No, clearly it's the movie's problem. They need to be 1 starred for it. They're the one. Craig T. Nelson is fucking up my streaming ability to watch his movie. So fuck him.
Pay your internet bill.
Or move to a better place.
It's all the bodies buried underneath your house. Fucking with your electronics.
I mean, which we didn't really talk about that, how that's the big line of the movie is they moved the headstones but kept the bodies where they are. So that's where the real curse is they just have these houses on top of old burial grounds, which fits in with our previous series of Indian burial grounds. So the ground has gone sour.
Indeed it has. Which, although I feel like if you're, using tractors or I don't know what the fuck you use to dig to build a house.
Backhoes.
But like you're doing that, like you're obviously going to go
Shovels.
down more than 6 feet because you have to dig a basement. Most of these houses have basements.
Unless you're in California. Even shit, I'm in Tornado Alley, and there's some houses in my area around here. But when we were looking for a house, had no basements to them,
That's
which
true.
is unfathomable to me in the Tornado Alley center of the states that they're not like, should we build one? Fuck them.
So I suppose you could just assume that the majority of these houses don't have basements, so they're just houses on top of concrete slabs.
Because
But
California, I don't know if houses in California have basements in them or not.
California, I don't know. That's a
California.
that's a Google question.
We should find that out.
I'll get right on it.
Definitely. Leslie here, I think, is onto something with you.
Okay.
June 2nd, 2019, 1 star. Missing footage.
Oh shit! Here we go.
There's a huge chunk of a scene missing, and it's an abrupt cut to the middle of the next scene. Do not buy the digital version. Clearly don't buy the disc either, because I have a...
That's the same one. I have a
run-of-the-mill-
DVD of it. Like
Which
just
after this, did you have the same sensation I had of man, after rewatching it, man, I should have bought that Scream Factory when they put it out years ago.
I want that Scream Factory of Part 3. That's the sensation I've had. But
I won 1, 2, and 3, but after I just have a real run-of-the-mill set of 1, 2, and 3, and I'm like, fuck.
me too. 1 is on a solo disc. 2 and 3 are together on a flip.
Is it a clamshell? Is it an old clam, like the cardboard clamshell?
No,
That's
mine's
what we
not.
have for ours. We converted it to a regular DVD case because we just cut the fucker up. Because it's Poltergeist. Who cares? We'll just put it in a regular case.
Bitch ass cardboard clamshells.
Next, we have Ginny Cerna, September 7, 2018. 1 star. I am a dissatisfied shopper. I shop here every now and then. Movie froze since I began watching it. Never really saw the whole movie without problems. I actually like this movie. I paid for nothing. So apparently the streaming version of this film is cursed. Is
A little
what people are
wonky.
saying.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, maybe Amazon just has a corrupt file and or something. I don't know.
Kariana, July 16, 2020. 1 star. What? 1 star. Her title, 2015. Was not the correct one.
That was real loud. My bad.
Nope, it's hilarious when someone buys the wrong version when there's 2 movies with the same title.
I love it. Yeah.
Heaven help someone who's trying to buy Black Christmas.
Oh, dude. Yeah, you're in big trouble.
They're super pissed. I can't wait to get to that series just to hear people bitch about
Bought the wrong
confusion. Yeah, and there's 3 of them. Fucking 3 of them.
one. Yeah. I feel like the people who make that mistake have to be 65 or older. You know what I mean? You have to just not read product descriptions whatsoever. Like, well, I got Timmy that Poltergeist movie he wanted. Like, it's the wrong one, Grandma.
Well, I'm gonna 1-star it.
Yep.
Twisted Little Mess.
Nice.
On March 18th, 2017. Yeah, I like the name. 1 star. Package was crushed. DVD couldn't play.
Just a bunch of fucking
Yeah,
shards
Burke.
of plastic.
Burke on May 2nd, 2016. 1 star. DVD skips and freezes.
All right, so it's not just streaming that skips and freezes.
True. This may be the best one I've stumbled on here. This is from Dustin.
Hey,
On January 26, 2017, 1 star. OMG, couldn't sleep for days.
oh my God.
Mary Wilson, August 16, 2016, 1 star. Thanks.
No, sir, didn't like it. Thanks.
Exorcist is my favorite horror film.
Thank you.
Fernando Binfa, August 5th, 2015, 1 star. This is a joke. Worst movie I've ever seen. Really?
Is that okay? So he said, "Is this a joke?"
Yeah. Is this a joke? Uncle Frank, is this a joke?
Oh Lord.
Bartley R. Darrow on September 4th, 2007. 1 star. They're not here.
Oh my God, I'm so clever. I'm gonna be the most clever person on Amazon ever with my title.
I mean, I don't think you can escape. It's like Nightmare 3. You can't escape talking about that movie without someone either singing Dream Warriors, trying to be like Don Dokken, or Poltergeist, and someone saying they're here. Mm-hmm. Angelica, July 19th, 2022, 1 star. Not worth it, unhappy.
Tried to send it back.
Damien I, October 30th, 2022, 1 star. Disappointing. Extremely disappointed. The DVD is all but in French.
Nice. So wait, it's in every other language but French?
Yeah, you got the French, and they're like, fuck you.
Like, how many fucking dub overs do we need to do?
I can't understand this movie. It is not in French. What is this? To round out those 1 stars, to kind of to shadow that second one, this is from Asian Letters. Asian Letters. I'm not going to say Japanese or Chinese because I don't know, because I'm fathead dumb American. Mm-hmm. I'm Jean-Claude Van Damme, a kickboxer, man. My training stinks. June 25th, 2022, 1 star. If you want to watch dubbing, the dubbing changes to English every 1 to 2 minutes, so I can't concentrate on watching it.
Oof.
Actually, I'm going to add one more to that. I just happened to notice this one other 1 star from Williams. Possibly also in French. I'm not sure of the flag here, but it had to be translated to English. On October 18th, 2021, star. 2C, good movie, 2C.
I love it. Oh, that's great.
I've never dabbled into the foreign 1 stars, but I figured why not throw a few in there for spice.
I'm thinking that's going to have to start becoming a reoccurring thing. I didn't even know that existed.
I can translate everything except their names. I couldn't translate the user's name on that one, so it's just Asian lettering, Asian lettering.
Yes.
Japanese, Chinese,
You
Korean.
have to, like we come up with Rondale Dale Branch, we have to come up with an Asian name. Lo Mein.
I feel we're not going to be able to come up with a single one of those that's not going to be
Offensive.
Yeah, like sidekicks. By the way, my name is not Charlie.
It's just how it is.
Just excuse us, fathead dumb Americans. We don't understand other cultures, so it's not we're being insensitive. We're just not that bright.
We're just not educated.
I'm not that bright. Yeah.
Well, now
Embrace
that we're done
the stupidity.
with our Amazon 1-star reviews, Evil, what does that mean?
Time to lace up the boots. Cue the Motorhead. Forget the sheet music, because we don't need the fucking lyrics. It's time to play the game.
Time to play the game. Time to play the game.
It's all about the game and how you play it. What's happening?
Oh, God damn it. Lemmy strikes again. Oh. It's too early.
Sidebar, I was literally watching another thing on WrestleMania with him doing the singing for Triple H on one of the times. He never learns the lyrics.
No, never. Why would he? He's Lemmy.
He could give a shit less.
Right? But it is time to play the game. And if you're new here, welcome. But you're probably scratching your head asking yourself, what is the game? Well, the game is a deep cut in and of itself where you gotta pick a prop from the movie that we are covering, but it can't be a well-known prop. So since we're covering Poltergeist, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. You can't have the clown, Sean Clark has it. You can't have the tree, it's probably at a McDonald's somewhere.
That tree didn't look real anyway.
No.
By the way, every time I saw it, I'm like, that's a fake-ass fucking tree.
And you can't have Carol Ann because she's dead. So, you gotta pick up...
That's awfully dark. You probably could have left that one out.
I probably could have, but I didn't. So, pick a prop from the movie. Make it weird, make it quirky, make it different. You can comment here on Spotify and or any other podcast apparatus that you have, because now every single episode has the question, what prop will you take from this film? And if you don't do it on those podcast apps, do it on Patreon, do it on Discord, do it on YouTube, do it on Instagram, wherever the fuck you find us. Say it. Let us know.
Mail us a letter. We'll read them all on the live stream.
Yes. From
Make you famous.
Rondale Dale Branch giving our podcast a 1-star review. But
or Asian Dawn. Maybe that could be our. Maybe we could use that for the user. The gang that Hans Gruber once released from prison in Die Hard. Yeah. Asian Dawn. I read about them in Time magazine.
Yes. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. All right, Evil. So I think I'll go first this week.
All right, I'm
if
curious.
You're fine with that?
Curious. I'm super curious what you go with.
Okay, so admittedly, again, not the most well-versed in this film. So
neither am I.
Have recently rewatched this film to get it reacquainted with my brain, and I think the prop I'm gonna have to pick is from one of the only scenes, I suppose, that truly sticks out to me, because I think it's every bit of movie magic that I've ever seen, and just exquisite timing. So what I'm going to take is one of, if not all of, the chairs in the kitchen, perhaps in the pyramid.
Which we didn't talk about, but that is an incredible, I'm sure a painstaking scene, because that's in one shot.
That is one shot. No cuts.
And that would be a pain in the dick, even if you're moving a glued set of chairs together.
Yeah, there are all these chairs, and they have glue in strategic places or tape, I believe,
to make them look all fancy looking and shit, stacked on top of each other, and within like 3 seconds of time.
Mm-hmm. So you have like however many chairs there are is however many stagehands are behind the camera.
Looks like 6 chairs.
And if you guess,
and
if you look close, once the chairs are up, when the camera comes back up and the chairs are all stacked up, there's a potted plant that's hanging like in towards the living room. If you look real close, you can see
it's swinging.
It's swinging because a PA bumped it.
Because they gotta jump in like raw frame, go move the chairs out. No.
Yeah. But I mean, you got to look real close. So
no human being would stack chairs like this.
You're right, Egon. You're mucus. So
I thought for sure you were gonna go with the clickers, because that's another thing that's completely dead in this day and age, is a remote control that works that well.
Yeah, those big old boxy fuckers that you'd have like a 9-volt battery in.
Yeah, 2-pounder at least.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I remember our old Magnavox. Big like.
Is that even a brand anymore?
I don't think so, dude. Like we had a big Magnavox. Like no one can see this. I'm holding my hands up like a fucking.
He's showing me.
Size of a fucking bar of soap, like oversized bar of soap, like big old.
That's a big bar of soap.
fat boy, almost like I guess bigger, like a shoebox, like a big.
That was like the for people listening, the size of his hands apart there looked like the size of like a child's like a size 8 shoe.
Yeah, real big, because they had 9-volt batteries in the bottom of them.
Oh yeah, I remember. They don't even sell those anymore either. Like those big ass fucking. Those used to be right there with the AA's and AAA's. You want these D batteries? We got them.
Yeah. Like,
well, it cost $13 and weighs 12 pounds, but here's 4 of them.
That's what my my boombox takes, which will give me enough power for like 2.5 hours. But that's
Let's
like
put fresh batteries in the damn thing this morning.
$60 worth of fucking batteries.
Batteries used to be just an insane thing we had to budget into
and blank tapes.
Our lifestyle. Yeah, now it's the blank tapes, both audio and video. Now it's just that's another ghost. Mm-hmm. No one deals with that anymore. Throwaway batteries are almost dead entirely as a concept.
True. Before you move on to your deep cut prop, Evil,
yes.
We have been technically forgetting the Brown Panty Award. No one necessarily dies in this movie.
Every once in a while I think like, oh yeah, we keep forgetting to do that. But I was like, has anyone died I felt bad for? I guess not.
Yeah, and no one really dies in this movie.
Except I guess if we had to give it to one, I'd say I'd give it to the Native Americans. So the Native Americans win the Brown Panty.
Yeah, well, yeah. We're going to pick up trash on the freeway with a single tear. So
that's an Italian man that just got granted Native American powers.
So yeah, sorry for forgetting the Brown Panty Award for a few weekends or weeks.
I'm gonna say we didn't forget. We just didn't find anyone really worthy of it. Sounds better.
Okay, yeah. So, all right. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, no. That was another thing that needed to be addressed at some point. Like, did they just forget about it? Oh, they just don't feel bad about anybody right now. Okay. I had to fight to not go super pervy wanting something from Joe Beth Williams'
underwear
wardrobe. Yeah, so I was like, oh, I'll go a bit more, much like this movie. I'm going to think R-rated, but my prop will be G-rated, so I'll take her hair dye that she decides to gray out her streaks in.
Nice. Totally thought you were going to take that fucking cigar box full of weed.
A cigar box full of a dead bird, which, man, even that's another thing. Like, who has cigar boxes anymore? A new cigar box. I'm sure they're still out there, but, I mean, shit. I've only seen one in my lifetime.
Yeah,
and I still have it.
So here's the thing about cigar boxes. For anyone,
give me the
listening,
411. I'm glad you got some info.
This is just a weird thing from my life. Like, so you have seen a cigar box. You own a cigar box. Like it's like that thick cardboard, that hard fucking cardboard. Okay.
It's literally It's a Boy cigars that when I was born my dad got, and I still have, and there's still cigars in it.
Damn.
So we could smoke some cigars.
Let's do it.
Some shit cigar.
Let's do it. I'll smoke a cigar with you.
Year of birth. Yeah. Why not? We'll do that for a live show, yeah.
Like a couple of men. But this is a weird thing. Now that you've fucking brought up cigar boxes that unlock this weird memory in my brain, my grandma, my mom's mom, I would always go over to her house. And so you know how, like, grandmas would always have, like, that cookie tin, but it would always be, like, sewing stuff?
Yes, 100%.
So my grandma also always had cigar boxes. Like, not like 1 or 2 or 3, like a fucking plethora of cigar boxes. So it would be cigar boxes that would have some of her, like, knitting or sewing, or some would have, like,
full of buttons.
Some would have, like, screws. But she also had empty ones that, like, if I would be like, hey,
you could use for such things. Yeah, don't throw that away. We could use it.
She would give me. She'd be like, you can take this cigar box.
Did she also have something that my dad would constantly have? Either jars or mainly the metal like Folgers coffee cans.
Oh yeah,
filled with like screws.
Yeah, and they're all rusty.
Yes.
Oh fucking! Yes. You have like a very specific smell.
Yes, I miss that smell.
Yeah,
now.
me too.
I hated it then.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I miss it, but so here's the deal. Like she would, and I'm talking probably once every month. Like, you know, my grandma would be like, you can have one of them, like, because I'd use it for, like, a piggy bank. I'd put my spare money in it, or, like, oh, I want to put all my G.I. Joe's guns or whatever, you know, like, I'd have these boxes. And that just made me think, I have never, not once, my grandma has never smoked. I never saw my grandma smoke a cigarette and or a fucking cigar, but she had 20 fucking cigar boxes. Who was smoking these cigars?
Then, probably someone she knew, and they're like, I'll trade you these 4 cigar boxes for a blanket. And they're like, deal. I can put shit in those boxes.
That's fucking weird. It's
a
like
form of currency.
Yeah, where did these come from? I'll never know. I might have to ask my mom. Like, I might just call my mom later and be like, so who the fuck smoked cigars in our family? Because that's
it was me, son. It was me.
She's like, it was me.
Yeah. Liar, liar. It was me.
That deep voice. Yeah, no, that just fucking trips me out. So
same, because yeah, we had some around too, and other places in the house, and yeah, I would say probably 4 or 5 total that I've seen. No idea who ever was using those.
Why? Yeah.
Maybe no. I can actually place it. No, I think on my mom's side, Grandpa, he did used to smoke cigars because my mom used to say she would get sick of the car from smelling it because he would do it in the car with the windows up and shit.
Oh, okay.
And you know, back in that time frame, they're like, oh, that's my smoking has nothing to do with you feeling sick. Like that's bull hockey. That ain't real. That ain't no science. Like.
It's real.
Things you know now that sounds super ridiculous if you think of that was not a thing then, but it was.
Also, let me sidebar with the cigarette smoke and the cigar smoke.
Jesus.
My mom is like, she's the opposite of a hoarder. Like, my mom
gets rid of everything. Don't want it.
Yeah, she buys things for us. Like, she buys things and brings them to us, right? Like, constant. Yep. It's like here, I saw this and thought of you. And she's on this kick right now where it's constantly like garbage bags full of clothes, because clothes will be on clearance, and I know like Tyson can use these pants, or Jasmine would like this sweater, or you guys like
future
socks.
Buying.
Yeah. So she buys all this shit and then brings it over, and she always is like, you don't need to wash those. I've already washed them. You know, like I ran them through my washer and dryer. They're all clean. You can just put them away.
100%. That's some mom shit. And you know what's even weirder and scarier is the wife is starting to turn into that with like shit. The girls around my house, like if they've outgrown, she'll pre-wash those and put them in a bag and be like, you can sift through this. You know, people that come by and stuff. No cigar boxes yet though, but definitely with clothes, she'll pre-wash that shit and give it away.
So, but that's the thing with the cigarette smoke is my mom will wash and dry them and be like, yeah, they're fine. Like, you don't need to rewash them. And then she'll leave, and you open up that bag, and it just smells like fucking Marlboros, and you're like, ah.
Because they can't smell it. They're numb to it. Yeah.
So we gotta 100%. Wash these. We gotta wash these hand-me-down clothes like 2 or 3 times just to get that like tobacco tar.
Doesn't smell like anything to me. Mm-hmm. Maybe it must be your upper lip, son.
It's hardcore. Like, she'll bring donuts. Like, that she, you know, and she'll be like, I thought maybe you guys would want these donuts. I bought them and didn't eat any of them. And you open the donuts and they smell like cigarettes, and you're like,
carcinogen donuts.
I'm probably not going to do that. I'm not, you know, I love you, but I'm not trying to get cancer off of this glazed donut.
Not that it smells like smoke, but I've also just tossed some food my mom has given me, like, in happenstance, like, oh, it just came by for this, like, here, take this and this and this and this, and I'm like, I'm never gonna eat some of this stuff, and I'll be like, oh yes, it was delicious.
Yeah.
Or I'll half truth and be like, I left it out and forgot to put it in the fridge. I was in such a hurry, I had to throw it out. Next time though, I'll definitely 100% eat those scallops you gave me that were completely open on one end and were sitting in your truck for I don't know how long, and you're like, here, you can cook these up, these are good. Yeah. Like, yep, I bet they are. Please don't ask me about them later.
Yeah. Moms, dude.
They have a love, just like Jo Beth Williams would not leave this house without Carol Ann.
Mm-hmm. But I suppose on that note, after dragging my mom through the fucking coals for a little,
we just did both our moms. But you know what's great is neither one are going to listen to our podcast because neither one really are into that kind of technology. So we're kind of free in that sense.
Yeah, my mom doesn't even know what a podcast is. But
mine has one with our shit on her jacket, and she still doesn't really understand it. She has a Deep Cut podcast jacket. Yeah, I love it. What is it? I don't know. My son does it.
Oh, it's so good. On that note, I suppose we should probably get going because, after all, there's a lot of podcasts out there to record that our moms won't listen to. So why not us do it? Or that didn't come off as well as I wanted it to.
Take 2. Do a take 2. Here, a cut. Take 2.
Because after all, there's a lot of movies out there, and somebody's got to watch. So why not us, right?
I got beat up once by 3 kids. Took my lunch money. They got hit by a truck. And they're upstairs right now.